Hey guys, good afternoon or whatever time of day it is you happen to be watching this video. Today we're going to be talking about history, theft, and the old Fitzgerald lineup. Max, what's your favorite kind of theft?
Wives?
You're a Mormon.
Back to whiskey.
So, the old Fitzgerald lineup is one of my favorite lineups of whiskeys ever. It's named after a gentleman named John E. Fitzgerald, which was a tax bondsman way back in the 1800s. The tax bondsman was a government official who was in charge of keeping the keys to the whiskey warehouses to ensure there was no theft happening. Ironically,
Sweet gig.
right? He knew it was a sweet gig too, because ironically, the workers at the distillery noticed that a lot of the best barrels, the honey barrels, were showing up short. They knew that no one else had the keys, and somehow Fitzgerald always had a good jug of whiskey at his house, so they started referring to these barrels as Fitzgerald's barrels. Eventually, they named a line of whiskey after him that managed to survive Prohibition. After Prohibition, it was purchased by the Stitzel-Weller distillery, owned by none other than the Pappy Van Winkle. And if you were actually to buy whiskey from Pappy, you wouldn't have been buying Pappy. You would have been buying Old Fitzgerald. This was his best-selling line of whiskeys. And it had what he liked to call the whisper of wheat. What that means is that his mash bill was corn,
Wheat.
and barley instead of corn, rye, and barley like most people had.
And he also was credited for being the innovator of doing that style for this brand. It had originally not been that way.
Yeah, most
And
people.
then he came through and added that as his touch to it and made it a much rounder, friendlier kind of bourbon.
Absolutely, yeah. Rounder and friendly is absolutely right. Most people expected whiskey to be what their grandfather said was rough and fiery. It's why it was big, high rye content. This was softer, it was mellower, it was easier to approach. And at a time when people were drinking a lot more blended whiskeys, it was something that managed to catch on really well. Old Fitzgerald line lasted for a very, very long time, as we might imagine, named after a bondsman. The Bottled and Bond was the bestseller for a very long time. Yeah, but you might also have heard that the Stitzel-Weller distillery that Pappy owned has been closed. It has been.
92?
Yep, since the early 90s, which means that all that whiskey that they distilled and all the brands they own got sold off. The Old Fitzgerald brand happened to go to my fantastic friends over at Heaven Hill, one of my favorite distilleries of all time, and they kept the process going pretty much the same way. Same idea, same kind of mash bill, bottled and bond. But I do have to say they did piss me off several years ago when they discontinued my much beloved bottled and bond and instead produced us with the Larceny.
And I liked the Larceny, but being old school, that was such a great bargain for what it was.
It's more of a personal loss than it is a whiskey loss. So,
Yes.
Larceny, named after the famous act of larceny by John E. Fitzgerald, same idea. Wheated mash bill, not bottled and bond, 92 proof, meant to be a more easy drinker, more approachable, meant to be, honestly, a little more sexy for the younger millennial crowd.
No, they changed the shape of the bottle. It looks more modern. A lot of people will come in and order it not having any idea of the connection with the old Fitzgerald or with Pappy.
Yeah,
But
well.
it's great juice.
Cheers. Yeah, the Larceny it's a little dusty, but it's got a bright cherry to it. The vanilla comes through really well. It is soft, it is round, it is approachable.
It's very easy drinking. The vanilla sort of like more in the middle and then sort of trails off and just a really light finish. I like that dustiness.
Yeah.
It's very dry. You're not going to go too wrong with it.
No, I'm not mad at it at all.
However,
There's more to talk about. So, in the world of whiskey, we're constantly seeing age statements drop, products be discontinued, lines consolidated, and we get to those personal losses, like Max and I are bemoaning, of our bottled and bond, even though we still get to have a bottle in front of us. This isn't anything new. This bottle right here is from the late 80s. This is the Old Fitzgerald Prime. This was the 80 proof. That no longer is available in most places either. But what you do see happening now in the bourbon renaissance and revolution that's been happening, if Trump's trade wars don't kill it, is the reintroduction of these old products in a new package at a higher price point in a more collector savvy way. And that's how we end up here with the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond Decanter Series. This is a new release from Heaven Hill, planned to be bi-yearly, spring and fall, like the old school distillery releases, because it is a bottled and bond product. If you want to learn more about that, you can check out our video on bottled and bonds, or just come talk to us.
and I like as you see these on the shelves, you're going to know which release it is. They're going with the green label when it is the spring release, and then a black label for fall. And they're going to be changing it up. So this is the first one going very close to what we know and love of Old Fitzgerald, but older.
Yeah, so we have an 11-year-old bottled and bond bourbon whiskey made with a wheated mash bill.
Here, let me make room.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Your hands look so large.
Why, thank you.
All right off the nose there, that dustiness is bigger, that cherry is bigger, that barrel presence is bigger. You expect that after 11 years in the barrel versus 4 to 6 on the larceny, just guessing.
And when it's in a decanter. God, I love that. See, it's spicy, it's dry.
Well, I wouldn't.
That higher proof, I think, makes a big difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's spicy, not in the sense like a rye or anything like that, but more like a white pepper, good clean distillate. There's some stone fruit. It definitely finishes dry, almost a little wet wood, like it's been hanging out in that barrel in a humid summer for a really long time.
Yeah, it's like peppercorn and cigar box.
It's something that I definitely associate with older whiskeys, especially including the Pappy Van Winkles when you start getting into the 15 and the 20-year-olds with those kind of namesake and history tying all into there. This, to me, tastes like what I remember the bottled and bond tasting like, just older and bigger.
I think that it's what my memory, I don't know if it's really accurate, because I think that age is making more difference than it necessarily is.
Absolutely. My only complaint about it is that the price difference of this being an old school $25 bottle versus a retail price of slightly over $100. How often am I going to be reaching for that bottle? It's going to be hanging out on my shelf. It's going to look pretty, and it's going to be a special occasion bottle versus you and I killing one in your garage playing pool on the weekend.
Right. So this we could do every day, and it's going to be absolutely fine. That has more character, more age, more of those. Again, I'm drinking my whiskey out of a cigar box, and I get that dry, oaky sort of thing that I love. But it's now a special occasion.
Which sometimes you got to celebrate. All right. Well, until next time, I'm Adam.
I'm still Max.
If you want to see more of us, you can go follow me at balledandbondla.com, and you can see Max here at the Chestnut Club on
Tuesdays. Do a little Max's Corner, and I DJ on Sundays. Outlaw country.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah.